Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sacred Astrology. This is Kay. I'm going on a rant today about energy and the solar system. It's all energy. Did you ever hear that? I first heard that in tap dance class back in the 90s. It's all energy, is what the teacher would say. So are the planets. So are we. We are fluctuating waves of energy floating. The illusion is compelling. It's very compelling. The illusion of the body and hunger and needs and wants and pain, and constriction. I live not a minimalist life, but a frugal life. I try to consume only what I need, and I try to reuse everything so that I don't waste energy. And my life is almost two-thirds over. I think I have about a third left. And I've really just thrown my energy into the pot to learn all I could about it. And we have precious energy, and our biology distributes that energy, not the planets. The planets create the fields that the biology distributes the energy in. But there is an intelligence that comes up through our DNA, through the water, into the zygote. The zygote is when that sperm hits the egg and the first cells that it creates. There's an energy in there that carries an encryption of all of the generations before us, all the way back, all the way back. Who came from who, where came from where. And that meets the astrology so that we have an agency. The planets are not doing something for us. We are meeting those fields inside of us because we were born into those fields and they were part of our development, which is our natal chart. But to say that someone can predict is a limitation, it used to be a necessary imposed limitation. People needed to know what to do. Now we need to liberate those powers because what's happening is all of those limitations have converged in the last 1,000 years in the age of reason, the age of thought, the age of industrialization and mechanization. And it's literally driving us crazy and trapping us. And AI is the pinnacle of that. And something inside of us needs to wake up. And the planets aren't going to do it. They just set the stage. But we have to wake up no matter what stage it is. And I can only say this because I listen to a lot of astrology videos, and almost none of them ever predict what's happening in my life. A few people in their discussions on the planetary aspects of the time hit on some things that are going on. And as an astrologer, I look at my own chart and we get biased, and you can see your own bias when you're looking at your own chart. What I have to contribute is the agency that we have within that's not just from our DNA, that's the water, but there's an agency that comes from spirit, that's the fire. Now, spirit, oh my gosh, there's so many dimensions, and there are many dimensions of fire in us, and some is just a basic elemental earth force life survival kind of fire, but there's another kind of fire that touches air, and beyond that is spirit, but spirit comes through there. And that is the kind of astrology that I am interested in. The spirit that's going to meet the flavor of the times. Because if we think too much about what's coming, we will naturally limit it because thinking is limited. So you can have a reading, you can have a discussion about the fields of intelligence that are coming. You can prepare your life, but can you prepare your spirit? That's tricky. And it takes A daily connection with spirit, not a daily connection with planning, but a daily connection with spirit. That's what my astrology sessions have to offer. I could tell you a lot about my chart that would indicate that, but it's just a color. It's just a flavor of spirit. The spirit has been in me since I was a little kid, way before I knew astrology. It's made me do some crazy things. And I've followed that spirit and I've learned with astrology and with the executive cognitive rational function a way of languaging this thing that has no language. And I've chosen astrology because astrology pulls us outside of our small self and allows us to see that we have a larger body. You have Eckhart Tolle says we have a pain body, and I'm sure many people listening can understand that, where and how the pain comes in. It's like a constriction, and if you were to draw it, it would be like everybody's would be different, actually. There were days when my pain body would feel like this, and there's some days when it feels like this. And what does my astrological body feel like? Whoa, I feel the sun, I feel the moon, I feel Mercury, I feel Venus, I feel Mars, I feel the Earth, I feel Jupiter, I feel Saturn, I feel Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Pluto! Get it done. I feel the asteroid goddesses and all of the Kuiper belt and all of the Plutoids. Okay, I had to cut that off because I was going on a giggle bender. The point I was trying to make is that astrology doesn't have to be dead serious. I mean, this is the year that I prepared for. These transitions of Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, Saturn into air and fire. Things will feel ungrounded, and the planets aren't doing it. The planets are setting the stage. They are doing what they do. They don't care what we do. We can blow ourselves up or we can create utopia. The planets do not care. What they do is they exist, and by their existence and their vibration, they lend us the energy within our beings that we're composed of. We have the components of the planets within us. So life is serious. Life is hard, difficult. There is, for some reason, life is challenging. It's a struggle, but there's also a joy and a beauty. And because of the culture that we've created to create conveniences, but also the imbalances in the culture in terms of who has what in distribution of wealth and goods and services, who's allowed what the rules of society are. And all of these things are internalized within us. We become imbalanced living in an imbalanced society. And what we're trying to do is create balance without destruction. And the intensity of what's coming has an element and a possibility of destruction, either self-destruction or implosion or explosion. And what the use of astrology is to recognize these fields of intelligence outside of us and inside of us. And the way to get there is not just with the past understanding, the prescriptions of the signs and the houses and the planets, but the prescriptions of this life force inside of us that I call the meeting place of spirit and the instinct and the intuition and the presence of our being on this earth. And that's what my astrology is about, is coming, bringing forth this presence inside of you to meet the influences that are expressing themselves through your natal chart, but also through your secondary chart and through the transits. When you know, when you feel, not just know with your head, but when you feel with every cell in your body, a movement in your being, at that moment, you have a choice. How do I want to feed that movement? How do I want to guide that movement? Our job is to create a field inside of us as much as possible that's nourishing and safe so that we can grow in the manner that we choose to grow, not in the manner of the past patterns of the planetary expressions, but in the manner that we choose to grow. And we have an extraordinary intelligence inside of us that I consider as an earth intelligence that's connected to the entire cosmos. So, come join me. If you would like a personal reading, you can find me at www.circleofbreath.com. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.